Hey guys, it's me again, Orgslayer. What a checklist as usual. Deku has 6,000 around. Well, with the 60, I'm pretty sure I said he lost 60 the last battle. So his 6,600 has been taken down to 6,540. So, with that out of the way, let's see. Eren, the King of Lions, second in command, Loken, the Blood Angel, Cassius, the Bear, and Lucius, the Lunar Wolf. I've given you all a description on what they use as weapons. I believe so. If not, let me say it. Loken, the Blood Angel, is known for using two sawtooth swords, similar to sawtooth knives, which are known for causing massive amounts of bleeding. And how he uses them, he causes massive, giant gashes and geysers of blood when he fights an enemy. Cassius the Bear, the strongest of all of them, and the only one who could really match Deku when it comes to strength. He is known for using gauntlets that have very sharp and bear-like claws, and he has also been known to wrestle. Instead of just clawing at a bear, he will legitimately wrestle them to the ground, and even overpower them. And Lucius, the Lunar Wolf, is known for his very skillful mastery of it's like a double-handed saber is what I said, and he uses that very masterfully. And I believe I said Eren, the King of Lions, he uses a axe, a sort of right-angled axe with a lion engravings and such on it. They're all very similarly dressed like Deku. Eren the Bear has actually what would be called a dire bear in my eyes, is that it's a giant black cloak, and he's also the biggest of Deku's students, a giant black cloak with the bear's eyes being red. Eren, the King of Lions, Cassius the Bear, has that whole dire bear thing. Eren, the King of Lions, aside from just having that, he has two skulls that are mounted on his armor, and a cloak, two lion skulls that are mounted on his armor with the jaw and all, along with a lion's, the skin of a lion draped over his back, more like a cape than a shoulder thing. But yeah, Loken, the Blood Angel, is known for, like I said, he has red. He causes a lot of blood, and his thing is from a special thing, which is a giant bird. And how that works is that it's draped over his soldiers like a cape, and the wings flow down, and they're blood red. So he has earned that name more than likely. And for the Lunar Wolf, he has just one wolf thing, and his armor is decorated with wolves and such. His thing has a wolf's pelt, a very big wolf, considerable to the size of Bell, the wolf Bell had killed at first. And he also wears it over his head, with a helmet and all. And to give you a description on how Bell looks, it looks like the picture I used, but it's more heavily armored, especially now, since instead of just fighting in the pits, he's fighting a legitimate war. He's decked head to toe in armor, plate, and chainmail, and his cloak is a white dragon, a white little horned dragon and such, and that's draped over his soldier. Some of these words. Shoulder. There we go. and that's draped over his shoulder, and he has the horns and such and all. Now the horns, some of you may think, well, wouldn't they stick into his head? Well, I'll say this, the horns are kind of curved, and those are also the horns he has on his helmet. Yeah, and his helmets are dipped in silver and such, so he can gore the ghouls and such on them. He's just heavily armored and such, and the biggest. He also is renowned for his 3 axes that he uses. 1 double-handed, 1 two-handed, and 2 single-handed. Each have their own decorations and such. And a guy pointed out to me in the comments that the banner should be similar to Cerberus. And not, those weren't his exact words, but a 3-headed hound that, and each head will technically represent, strength, will, and something else. I can't remember what the other thing was. But I'll say he'll redesign, it won't be like a hound dressed in armor, I guess. I want it to be something hound-like. And the 3-headed hound thing sounds awesome. But it's just like Cerberus, is it not? If anyone else has a... Well, I guess I'll just use his thing, and it's heavily armored as well. It's a warhound, I guess, with 3 heads. Each one representing their own thing, and it's decked head to toe in armor. And there we go. No, it's 3 hound heads. 3 hound heads, yeah. With armor and such. And each head has the word that it means: strength, will, and fury. And as they are... And the Amazons haven't really heard their war cry yet, because they haven't been the ones attacking. They've just been attacked spontaneously. So with his 656 remaining and that thing out of the way, they all begin another march. And they've already been reinforced by their 6,000. Or, not 6,000, they're 3,000. So I guess Bell and them are sort of working independently right now. Bell, Aisha, and his captains, as well as with Margaret, they're all like in the war room trying to discuss what they should do. And he said, should we move shop, or should we what? Well, Margaret points out that they could be assaulted again, assaulted by several, they could be re-assaulted by, they could be assaulted by the tribesmen, as well as, it seems you're right, Bell, they have tamed drakes and such. So they could charge us with a large amount of drakes and tribesmen, so... Bell's like, no, they wouldn't risk that. Last night wasn't a real attack, it seems. It seems more like they were prodding to get a feel of how our defense was. And with how many we've taken down, which I roughly got a count, we took down a couple hundred, maybe a couple thousand. Especially in the flying variety. In the flying variety, we did quite a lot. Now, you guys may think this just sounds ridiculous with how much Bell has under his control. That's why he's divided up quite a bit between his captains, Aisha, and Margaret. Margaret doesn't really have any control. She's more like a companion from Mountain Blade, Bannerlord, or something like that. His captains, though, are like the ones who get orders and pass it down the line. You know what? The thing could be that there's a person holding a chain to the warhound, like a warrior similar, like a picture of a guy who's decked head to toe in armor, similar to Bell, holding a giant chain for the 3-headed hound. That actually sounds very nice. I'll say it's similar to that. These are pretty big banners and such, so I'll say it's similar to that. A guy decked head to toe in armor with his axe, chain, and a cloak of a... I guess, yeah, a cloak of a dragon or whatever, and then the three-headed hound on a chain, decked head to toe in armor as well. So as they're marching forward, Aisha and them are still talking about, I wonder what their war cry is. We didn't hear any of them cry out anything last night. As they're marching forward to another position that they could take up that offers relatively a lot of positions, actually, they had some scouts sent out and they all returned safely. Talking about how there's like a placement against, not a wall, but with not a cliff either. It's just like sorta in the middle of a field, wide open area, so they'll be able to see from wide around. So as Belle says, alright, that will become our destination temporarily. They've also have like some animals to bring along with, like cows and chickens and such that can reproduce relatively quickly. So as Belle and them begin their march, Aisha still asks, so what is your war cry? None of you said it last night. He's like, well, you'll know it if we ever charge at something. And just as that says, like, they're saying, sir, massive army on the move. As they're like, get me sights on it. What banners are they flying? No banners, sir. Looks like a horde of the tribesmen and such. There's also drakes and such flying about. And, oh, God. They have an adolescent drake, sir. Belle's like, oh. Aisha and them ask, how big is an adolescent? He's like, it's roughly the size, the height-wise, it's about the size of a house. Length-wise, about the size of two. As they say this thing will be tough, but he asks them how strong they are, and I think Aisha's like in her 20s, or something like that. Like, yeah, in her like early to mid 20s in the anime, so I'll say she's actually like in her teens at this point. And Belle is, well, with all that time, he's probably already reached his 20s already. So, yeah. As Aisha and her warriors are like level 1 and level 2 and such. With maybe like not even a level 3, just like level 1 and 2s. So they can't wipe out an army, but they could like hold a line very good against an army and such. Like against Belle's warriors, they'd have a very hard time. Especially with some of them, since fighting monsters without even having the leveling system in itself is pretty decent. So as Belle and them are just preparing, they have archers set up on the ridge and everything. They're like discussed this before, like Belle has talked with his commanders, and they're like, we should attack. But they're like, what about the adolescent drake? That would be the most difficult part, especially if it breathes fire. Belle's like, I'll handle the drake. Me and the Amazons will focus on the drake. You all can rush in. I put you four in front in command of the forces. Margaret, stay close to Aaron. As they're all like armored up and ready to go, the thousands of archers are set on the thing, and they're all ready. Their archers are like all ready to go. Then they unleash the first volley, like. As they see this, some of the watchmen for the tribesmen are like, incoming! As like hundreds of arrows are just landing and killing several tribesmen. The adolescent drakes and such like look around and actually get hit a bit. The adolescent drake actually getting hit in the eye, screaming and like thrashing about, killing several tribesmen. As they see this, Belle and the warhound berserkers, spearmen, and all of them are ready. Deku, as they like come out of the forest, Aisha and them are like, so what is it? As Belle screams it, "Hear our howl, know our fury," as this is repeated over the entire charging horde. I show them saying, "That's badass." All of them thinking that's awesome, as they hear the hound reverberated several times down the line. "Hear our hound, know our fury. Hear our howl," not hound. "Hear our howl, know our fury." And tell me, you guys, if you actually like that, because if not, I'll come up with something else. And as they, the berserkers jump over any of the measly defenses and start cutting down tribesmen, I'll say there's roughly a couple thousand here. They were the forces that attacked last night. The main forces that came, like I said, this was a prong attack, so it wasn't the full might of the mages and such, which are also getting more recruits every day from different tribesmen the deeper they go. And the deeper they go and the farther they go in, is the tougher the tribesmen get, for a sheer fact that the deeper they go in, the more ghoul activity there is. And the warriors have, some way they coat their weapons in oils and such. And and such. And the deeper they go in, they found some way, they coat their weapons in fire and such, to use as, they coat their weapons with, oil and such, set them on fire, and then send them crashing into their enemies. And with this tactic in mind, they typically end up having the strongest warriors and the biggest and toughest. At the moment, some of the other armies are having that reality being brought upon them by the sheer size of these men, as they start just crashing and smashing through, slaughtering them. This is quite literally a slaughter. They were sent in and just crashed into them. The chieftains of these tribes are on par with Bel, and sheer strength, brutality, and all. But Bel right now is just cutting through the warriors as he's charging straight at this giant drake. As this drake sees him, he throws up his cape as it shoots a bunch of fire at him. The Amazons have fallen back, being actually cut off for a bit, so Bel is left to fight another giant drake. As he rushes forward, this drake coming right at him, he hits the ankle 1-2 with 2 slices. It sort of not tumbles, but he just cuts a tendon and such, causing it to be able to harder to walk on that one leg and such. If you'll excuse me, I gotta go real quick. I'm back. So as he's fighting this massive drake just one-on-one, he manages to slowly but surely just hack away at it, being able to cause it pain with his special axe design, which is kind of very saw-like. Nah, it's it will still just cut straight through enemies, but if he wanted to, he brings it in and just rips, just using his arms, just ripping it forward, just cutting and causing bleeding. This drake is learning this right now, and it's a very painful lesson. Now Aaron, the king of lions, is just cutting through pairs of tribesmen every time he swings his axe. The bear guy, he literally grabs people and just rips them apart. The Amazonians are seeing more of the fury that the warhounds conjure. They say they're the warriors that they're similar to, in their words, they are more fierce than the Spartans, that their fury is rivaled only by the legendary races of warriors, such as the Spartans, the Amazonians, and the Immortals. Because I'll say there's a few empires like Persia, and there's very similar to 300 and such. And if you did not know, the Immortals from 300 were actually real people. And how they actually kept up the immortal thing is that when a warrior of theirs would die, they would drag the body away, making it seem like they were still alive, that they were unkillable, and if they fell, they would just return. So as this one like goes forward, Bell and his warriors are cleaving through, and the warhounds make short work of these tribesmen and drakes and such are just in this makeshift fortress. By the end of it, the army is done for. Like, that's how fast they killed them. Like, within 30 minutes, the tribesmen were routed. Like, being left with, I believe I said there was 2,000, they barely have over 300. That is the fury of the warhounds. As they scream this out, "Hear our hound, know our fury," as this is said over and over. Amazonian's still shocked. And by this point, Bell has had this 30-minute battle with this Drake. Trying to burp or something. But Bell has had the 30-minute battle with his Drake. And he has quite literally just cut it to ribbons. Even, he got up, and for his final thing, he got up and just cut through the neck. Like in a berserker rage. He got to the neck, climbed up it, and then just started cutting through the neck. Eventually sawing the entire thing's head off. As in, finish, it just, flopped to the ground. Its head falling off. The Amazonian Bell is, standing on top of this. The warhounds looking up at Bell. And they're all screaming, "Hail the warhounds! Hail the warhound!" And such, just hail the warhound. Hail the warhound. The warhound, killer of dragons, conqueror. He really hasn't conquered anything. Hail the warhound, killer of dragons, slaughter of ghouls, and champion of the pits. Those are his titles so far. Yeah, those are pretty good ones, are they not? And master of the warhounds and such. These are the titles being given to Bell. The ones that he's earned through blood and sweat. Blood and sweat, actually. Just blood and sweat and sheer brutality. He is just a very great warrior. The archers in them calm down after the battle, and they look around at the carnage. Then they begin looting. The tribesmen and such had actually a lot of reserves of food. And they had some drinks and such. So Bell and the warriors, after taking over the fortifications and just redoing them to the extreme. Now this is a proper makeshift fortress. So, as they have set up these fortresses and such, ready to rebuke any assault that comes from any direction, be it air or land. So as they're all ready, Bell and them are having a feast, sort of, congratulating their victory. They're using the meat from the Drake before they eat the rations and such. Since the warriors are all dining, even the Amazonians haven't ever had Drake before. But thanks to Bell's winning at the thing, a lot of the warriors are excited. "We haven't had Drake in ages! Since that time Bell killed his first one." That puts 2 Drakes under Bell's belt. And several more decorations and such. Because also what they do is that they take teeth, claws, and parts horns and such, and decorate the banners and such with them. Sort of those they wrap string around them and have them hanging around the banners. And the one that will be Bell's standard, if you know what that is, that's the main standard, the main banner for the entire person, or the personal banner of the leader. He has one that is just decorated with the teeth of dragons. Yeah, the teeth of dragons. And give me a second, the picture and such, that's what's decorated on there, is that they take the skin and decorate it with that. Sure, they like make it so that it can be seen at first, like dyeing it or something, but you get what I mean. So as that's like been put up there, the banner of the Warhounds flows greatly in the wind. The warriors dining on Drake, and the Amazonians and such, since they never had Drake, are saying how good it is, and the warriors are really excited. And like I said before, they tell them that the only time they've had this is when Bell killed that first Drake, single in combat, and he did it again and more professionally this time. Instead of cutting his way into it, he chopped off the head. This like drives so many warriors to just be like I said, the whole hail the master of the Warhounds and such. So as they're all like prepped and ready to go, it will be a peaceful night tonight. Give them that moment of relaxation and such. Stop yawning. Now for the other warriors, there will be several armies right now being descended upon by thousands of ghouls and thousands of warriors. Especially the brand new tribesmen, like the elite warriors of the tribesmen, are being thrown at their enemies, and they are just utterly decimating them. Several lords have been killed. I'll say that with these losses and such, they're dealing losses. So to give an entire thing, with the amount of ghouls lost and such that are constantly being reproduced and such, the ghouls grow rapidly, quickly and such. They really aren't that big of a problem because they tend to stick in little groups and such. And since the warriors of the hills and such have been keeping their numbers down, but now since a group of mages have sort of been using their biology and such to their advantage, they've grown rapidly, very quickly. And now that there's also the tribesmen who have joined them, and more every day, the more they go deeper into the mountains, adding to the horde of ghouls, as well as adding to their horde of barbarians and such, or just tribesmen, Deku's forces have been brought down to 15,000. Not 15,000, 25,000. While the others have been brought to 28,000. Well, that seems unreasonable. I'll say 26,000, giving them some, since it's only been, a few days, considering those numbers, it's been pretty good. Well, I'll say it's been, a week, 2 weeks. And they've lost 25,000, and the others have lost a lot more than just 5,000, 4,000. It's just that they're reproducing their numbers rapidly. So, yeah. As the ghouls are, overrunning positions and such, Deku and his, troops and such are just eating their feast. As they, infiltrate deeper and deeper. And on this, that day after that, the warriors took some of the Amazons up on their offer that night, feeling that they had earned it. Bell again didn't take it, and instead actually took watch. He stood there. He actually switched out his 2 axes for now to take up his, giant axe. He stands there waiting. Several of the warriors walk past him, and even some of the Amazons greet him as saying Captain Warhound, or Master Warhound, and such. Aisha at one point comes walking up to him and talks to him for a bit. He's the offer still stands. He's gives a chuckle. So I still deny it. She actually asks him a bit more about how Integra is, and he gives her the whole story. And she asks him, so you saved her from getting hit by a bull, and you then wrestled that bull to the ground. You getting bruised, as well as getting completely dirty. She's actually laughing at when he's I got dragged through cow crap and mud. As she laughs at this, sort of a big old knee slapper, she actually slaps her knee. She's that is a good story, Belle. Also, the Amazons have not lost any of their number, and with the surprise attack, the Warhounds haven't lost any other numbers as well. This was a complete surprise attack, utterly decimating that entire horde of tribesmen and such. Also taking down like an entire litter of not warhounds, but stop it, entire thing of the fire drakes and their animals that they had brought, like some wolves and such. The wolves were more or less trained and such from the tribesmen, but you get the idea. They even got some horses and such, but Bell told them just to like set them free or whatever. That none of their warriors are really don't really have any training when it comes to riding on horses. Some of them saying, well, Bell's the commander, he deserves. And commanders in their eyes typically are the ones like on horses, are decked out. Bell's like, I'm only a commander in name. I haven't even been recognized by anyone else outside of here. So I'm just a lowly grunt like the rest of you, as he raises up a mug. We are the Warhounds, and we'll sink our teeth into this wretched meal, shall we? As this is said, they're like, cheers! And then he cuts back to like how he's telling Aisha like how Integra makes him very, very happy. And when he actually has taken off his helmet at this point, she sees the scars and everything, and his nice white hair along with his red eyes. At first she can tell, like, just by, like, since she only really ever saw his eyes, which she noticed as being bright crimson red. And then when he took off his helmet, she just saw long flowing white hair. To her, he looks like something akin to an angel or whatever. Even the scars couldn't like abstract his face or anything. It's just like, oh, as like even like as he took off his helmet, just the whole angelic thing, like, oh, and all that done. Belle's like, she's like, what? She's like, nothing, just did not expect you to look like that at all. I was expecting big beard, shaggy hair, and dark black hair. Like, well, I hate everyone else. As he gives like a chuckle, but I am sorry for the loss of your sister. And she's like, oh, it's fine. Tell you the truth, none of us were expecting to lose anyone, but we all thought it might happen. As she sort of nods, he's like, I wasn't able to honor the amount of kills I was supposed to get during this, like I said, the next battle, so I'll double it. I'll double it. She's like, what? I'm like, I will get 1,200 kills in the next battle for not honoring this one. As he says this, Aisha's just like, whatever. As she gives a chuckle. Bell saying, well, it's getting late and that the guard should probably get back on duty. I'll say it's been 15 minutes. No signs of enemy movements. For them at least. While with Gary and them, they're fighting off a battle right now. Gary's somewhat wishing that Bell and his forces were closer, but since they've crossed over the mountains, they really haven't been able to establish contact. At first they found their old, like, site and such, but when they got there, there was nothing but, well, the bodies of old warriors, of the tribesmen, along with drakes and ghouls and such, as well as flying ghouls and such. They saw the barricades and such were taken down, but fire pits and such were still lit. So as the riders run off, they actually see like Bell's fortress and such. The Warhound banner flying proudly, a man with a 3-headed dog and such. A very heavily armored man with an axe and a 3-headed dog as they're standing there. If you want to know, the man is depicted as being Bell, while the Hound is depicted as his entire little legion, if it did not make sense. And again, the 3 heads sort of represent whatever. The men have to, like, the creators, the banners, and painters of the shields sort of have to make it, like, not as good, but you get what I mean. Just tell me if you think there's a better way to do this aside from having Cerberus being Bel's banner. So as they all are ready to go and ready to kill, the guy arrives. He's like, the men at the gate, like, pull him off his horse, aiming their swords and spears and such. These guys, if I may say this, are similar to warriors from Warhammer Fantasy. They're similar to the Chaos Warriors and such. Not the Marauders, but just the Chaos Warriors and such. They're decked head to toe in heavy armor and such, with heavy shields and spears and such. So they're ready to go anytime. As they're, like, picked up and, like, sent to Bel, he's like, "So what's up?" He's like, "We're trying to establish communications, but anytime I tried to get where you were just gone." He's like, "Ah, yes. We managed to take out a couple thousand today, as well as taking out some of their more dangerous monsters along here." And as he says, I could tell there was a giant dragon corpse outside, or drake corpse. He's like, "Indeed. So what may we do for you?" "Well, like I said, we're trying to establish lines of communication, and I wanted to bring you a sit rep of what's been going on." He's like, "Alright, hit me with it." The commanders of, like, Aaron and all of them are there, waiting. "One army has been completely wiped out." They're like, "What?" "Yeah. We've been brought down to 25 troops estimated, while we've taken a severe number of also the ghouls, well, the mages and such controlling the ghoul, and the tribesmen. Their numbers have been taken down significantly as well." Bel thinking, well, what happened? They say, "We aren't entirely sure. We just have reports and such of that the entire army was wiped out, and these peculiar tribesmen are giants." They're like, "Actual giants?" Or, no, not actual giants. They're just very big. As he points out, they're very similar to how you all are. They're the tallest man I've ever seen. Like, they're, I guess, the one that's been proclaimed as their leader is as tall as Bel. And he has, like, a giant warhammer. And he's like, I saw him, like, as I was being stealthy. He smashed away 10 men at once. Bel getting very interested. He's like, "Where were they last seen?" As he says this, Bel does like facing strong warriors and such. Being in the pits have sort of bred him into that. Like, if he'll fight whenever, but if it's a strong warrior, he gets particularly interested. Several of the warhounds also are, like, hearing to this and saying that there's very strong warriors ready to be fought. They're like, "Heck yeah, we're up for that." As they're all, like, are getting, like, very excited. Like, Aisha could tell, like, Bel is actually very intrigued, while Cassius, Lucius, Loken, and Aaron are very excited, like, get more skills tested against these tribesmen. He gives them the location, and Bel essentially says, "We're going there as soon as possible." And they all, like, saying, "In the morning we set up and we move forward to fight these new warriors. Have they been given a name?" Yes. And as he was about to say it, that's where I'm going to cut it off. Thank you all for watching, and tell me what you want the tribe of, like, these warriors will be given a specific name, and if you guys tell me a name for them, I think it'll be a very good thing. Tell me a name for these new warriors and such, this new tribe. Make one up, and try to make it epic, cool, or nice. Up to you, but thank you all for watching. Hope you all have a nice day, nice night, nice life.